Last week, do you remember I talked about the teenager Alex Batty from the UK who went missing on vacation in Spain in 2017?
I do remember that. Yep. How he just showed up on a street or whatever.
Yeah, just walking in the rain. A guy picks him up and he says, "What's your name?" And he says, "I'm Alex Batty." And for some reason, this guy decides to Google him and is like, "Oh my gosh, you're the missing teenager," and takes him to the police station.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's weird. And they said they couldn't find his mom or grandfather who he disappeared on holiday with. And we're like, well, how does he not know where they are?
Yeah.
Like, this is weird.
It is and was.
Well, he did a sit-down interview since we talked about it.
Okay.
And basically, he went with his mother and grandfather, and he was unhappy. I guess I don't know. It's kind of hard to understand because I didn't get to watch it. I've only read the article about it. And it's just a little hard to understand.
Okay.
So they say that he disappeared while in Spain, okay? And in this interview, he chose to leave his mother and father because he was fed up with them drifting around Europe. And I heard something about he was mad about them moving to Finland, which is why I'm confused. But anyway, just forget that part. But he was fed up being with them and them just drifting him all over, Europe. And so he decided, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to run away. He said he realized it wasn't a great future. It wasn't a great life to live for him. He said he was moving around nonstop, no friends, no social life, constantly working. And that's what he felt like it was going to continue to be if he stayed with his mom. And his mom was also like anti-vax and like kind of anti-government. And he didn't like that, which I found
good for him then if he didn't want to be a part of that crime. Because what they were doing was criminal. So I just want to be clear about that. Like what was going on with him, that was a crime.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't under their guardianship. Like, he wasn't in their custody.
They abducted him.
And they abducted him. And
he went willing, it sounds like. So, but still, legally, they abducted him.
Yes. Yep. He was a minor. Like, you can't just take off with somebody who's, not in your custody and not bring them back. But I guess his mother's catchphrase was, like, don't become a slave to the system or something like that.
Okay.
So I guess that's why she was moving all over the place.
Yeah, it sounds like you don't have to be a slave. Punk rock for a high school kid,
Yeah.
Because, you can not be a slave to the system and still live within the system to have a reasonable life with, a social life.
Yeah. So he's back in northern England with his grandmother. He's staying with her right now. He apparently chose to leave. He had an argument with her and decided he was going to leave. He said he knew exactly where he was going. He said he never stayed in too many places at once, that he even stayed in a spiritual community, whatever that means.
A cult.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he said he had been walking for 2 days when he was found.
Oh my gosh.
2 days he had been walking, and he knew exactly where he was going and what he was doing. Okay, so it wasn't like he was lost or anything. And he lied to the police to protect his mother and his grandfather because he didn't want them to get in trouble. But he believes they're planning to go to Finland, and he told them that, and that he thinks they're just going to get caught anyway, so he's like, whatever, I'll just tell on them.
Yeah.
Interesting, right? He said that he is going to be busy studying, though, and catching up in his schoolwork, and he wants to be in the technology sector.
I mean, that's incredible. I'm good for him in that situation to be self-aware enough to make that hard decision, because, like, it's easy as an outsider to look at this situation and think like, oh my God, how could his mom, how could his grandma, like, I can't believe he did this. Or even on the flip side, I'm sure there are people out there that are like, I can't believe he told on his mom or grandpa or whatever like that. And it's real easy to be on the outside and judge, but like, I don't think that was an easy decision. So good for him to have the confidence and self-awareness to come forward and be able to say, hey, this is not what I want for my life. And remember, he doesn't have a frontal lobe, you guys. Like, I say that all the time, but anybody...
He's 17.
Exactly,
he
10 years away.
He went missing when he was 11.
Yeah.
So for him to be with them all this time and then make the decision to leave on his own like that, and it's just without a social life. It's not like he has friends who are telling him, like, yeah, that's messed up, man. Your mom's weird.
And 10 years away from having a fully formed brain to make good conscious decisions. Yeah. So, like, that self-awareness is pretty incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's seems like he's a smart kid. 17
I hope for the best, though, for him. I really do. I hope he gets everything that he wants and is looking for in life, because it sounds like he's had a hard life.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I bet it has been hard.
I agree.
I bet it has.
Yep.
I'm curious if he had access to technology, because what's up with the whole anti-vax, anti-government thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, he lived in a spiritual...
Yeah. Yeah, but...
cult, like...
But, true. But when you're, like, that young and you're raised around it to, like, oppose it, I feel like you need to hear the opposing side. So where is he hearing the opposing side? I'm just curious.
But there could be kids in that spiritual group, and that stuff just spreads. I don't know.
I'm curious if he had access to the internet or anything like that growing up, or anything. If he lived in a spiritual community, probably not. But yeah, I mean, I hope the best for him too. I think it's incredible he made that decision to get himself out of that bad spot, knowing like this isn't a healthy situation, and I need to go. It's time to go.
Yeah.
It's amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope he, accomplishes all his goals. But it was interesting to find out.
Yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting.
Case closed.
All right.
That's one.
Let us know what you guys think about it.
Yeah, for sure.